Good day everyone and welcome. My name is Inarius. I'm the leader of E2E4 and today I'm gonna make a very long and boring video about fleet. Which fleet composition I think you should make, how to feed it, and especially why. I'm sorry I'm not a native speaker and I'm not a perfect speechwriter, so for that reason I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes and my speech wouldn't be perfect, so please suffer. Yeah. First of all, I would like to make a notice that all the info which I'm going to use will be based on figures which are taken from the game, from inside the game, and I've done 0 tests at the moment. If you know the math, and if you're good in math, and if you know anything about math, statistic, and analysis or econometrics, you know that you need to, if you want to test 2 samples. So, for example, if you want to test that your ship design A is better than ship design B against, for example, the particular target, yeah, let's say some pirates, you need to know all the figures of ship design A and ship design B, and especially pirates. And if you do not know them and you can't calculate them, that means you can't compare them. So for this kind of test, I need a lot of resources and a lot of time, which I don't have at the moment. So I will do them in a month or so, especially if I got some help. But from now on, I will make my assumption basing on all the info from the game and from the ideas which I heard, but basically on the math from the game. So I'm not one of the guys who says that, hey mates, you need to build this, and when you're asking them why, they say, because I think so, because we kind of test something, not like 50 tests, like to get average, but like 1-2 tests, and from my feelings and my thoughts that, yeah, you need to build this, and this. Guys, I have a feeling and I thought that you need to send me 10,000 bucks, please, right now. I can give you my account, so please send me, because it's my ideas and thoughts, no science proof. So, yep, all the stuff which I'm gonna explain now is based on figures. So let's start. First of all, if you've seen my previous video, you know that according to the game mechanic, one of your fleet should be your tanking fleet, and the rest should be your damage dealers. Yeah. You know that the main goal of the game is to be as powerful as possible. So the more advanced and more powerful fleet you got as damage dealers, and yeah, later on as tanks, the better you are, the better pirates you can kill, the more resources you can get, the tougher opponents, it doesn't matter, pirates or players, you can face and you can defeat them, and you can get more resources from them, and after that you can build more fleet, and so it's a circle, definitely. So yeah, our main goal is to get as powerful fleet as possible, but as you all know that the level of the fleet is characterized by the level of your ship design center. Yeah, how we call it in English? It's, yeah, ship design center. I was absolutely right. So on the first level, if you go to your basic shipyard, on the first level is tracer, then frigates, destroyers, light cruisers. Level 5 it's battle cruisers or Raynors, the more advanced version, and the last, but not the least, is Oaks and Thunder Oaks. But the main thing that why they all differ from each other. So we do not take in consideration their shield, armor, and health. It's very obvious. But the more important thing that more advanced the ship, the more damage it can deal, and it has more weapon slots, and slots are different. So what do I mean by that? So if we look at Tracer is a main basic ship. Yeah, its DPR, which I'm gonna talk about in a second, is 26 because it has the tiny small slot. So the weapon slots are T, S, M, L, and H. So they're tiny, small, medium, large, and huge. So Tracer has only tiny slots, and Frigate, yep, it's Falcon, but it doesn't matter. It has 2 tiny and 1 small. Eagle is the same one, so 2 tiny and 1 small. So that DPR, so its damage per round is 105. So the better the ship, the more weapon slots it has, and the more damage per round, or the DPS or DPR, it's up to you, it does. But first of all, before I start explaining you the thing about DPR and all the stuff, you need to know how the game mechanics works. So, for example, I have a fleet here, yeah, and I'm gonna attack the pirate fleet. So when we start a fight, we will go to a step turn-based fight. So in this fight, all my damage will be accumulated as figure A, and all the pirates' defense. So armor, shields, evasion will be accumulated as figure B. Let's simplify everything. Yeah, and if my figure A is higher than figure B, their fleet will be destroyed. If there is one fleet will be destroyed, and the rest of the DPR will come to the next fleet, and so on, so on, so on, until one of our fleet, and the same is vice versa. So everything will come until our fleet will be destroyed. So DPR is damage per round, so it's a turn-based strategy, and when we start a fight, yeah, it's so round number 1, yeah, damage done. Round number 2, yeah, damage done. Yep, so I won. Okay, we got about the idea about DPR, and it's very important because of the 2 things which I'm gonna take a closer look later on, honestly right now. So the first thing about the DPR is that let's look at the battle cruiser and Raynor. Yep, they do have some difference with the health, armor, shield, and blah blah blah, but they have 0 difference in damage per round. You can see it, yeah, the basic Raynor and basic Enterprise, because damage per round is nearly the same. Even though, if we look closely in it's a battle cruiser and Raynor, you can see that the better and more advanced the ship, the better the weapon slots it has. So Raynor has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 medium slots and 2 small slots, weapon slots, and the battle cruiser has 1, 2, 3, 4 small slots and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6 but 5 big slots. So medium slots. If we check it out, if we look at the weapon, so 2 small slots are equal to the damage of one medium slot. So for that reason, the DPR is the same. I would like you to understand that. One more thing I would like to make a notice about the rockets. Yeah, let's take the simple long rockets. You can see that the attack speed here is 3, and for the robotics the attack speed is 1. If we change robotics with rockets, even though robotic has it's a small slot, it has 50 damage, and rocket in small has 150 damage. Even though the damage is different, yeah, in damage per round the figure is the same, because 3 here means that rocket does damage once per 3 rounds, and robotic and the rest of the weapons, they do the damage each and every round. So we got the idea about the DPR, we got the idea about the slots, that different ship types have different slots. There is one more thing I would like to make a notice about before I start the whole explanation. It's about the armor piercing and shield piercing. So when the round starts, it's percents. They didn't notice, or they didn't mention it, but here's the percent, so it's 50% and 50%. So how it's my own theory, I cannot really prove it, and I have two theories how does it work, so I can't really prove it, but it's my own theory how it works, so I can't guarantee that it is like that, but I think it's rather logical. So I made a small diagram here. So let's check it out. So let's assume you are facing an enemy which has 1000 shield, 10 armor, and 1000 HP. So first round starts. Let's assume you just have one small barrel cannon on your ship. Yeah. Let's assume one large barrel cannon on your ship. So you are dealing 280 damage. Yep, 280 damage comes to shield, and after that, because you have 50% armor piercing, so I think that 280 is done to the shield, and after that, 50% of the damage is going through. So you're dealing damage, and it goes through the shield. So 50% of 280 is 140. Goes further to HP bar, but before reaching HP bar it will face armor. Armor is some kind of thing which will reduce your 140 to another amount. We don't really know, but what we know is that you have, for example, here you have 50% armor piercing. For that reason, of 140 will be divided into 2, so it will be divided in 70 and 70 minus armor. We don't know the armor is a percentage or the actual figure, so we need to minus 70 minus 10% of 70 or 70 minus 10. We don't really know. So in the first round, if I got it right, your ship will do 280 damage to the shields of your enemy. So the rest will be 720, and you will also do 1000 minus 70 minus plus 70 minus armor. That's the damage will be done to HP bar, to the hull. So we don't know what armor is, it's a percentage or the real amount, so it will be 1000 minus 70 minus 60 if the armor is the actual figure, or minus 10% of 70, it's 7, so 70 minus 7 is 63. So either or, in the first round, after the first round, your enemy will have 720, that will be the amount of shield, and 867 or 870, that will be the amount of HP bar. So I explained to you about this one. And the last thing, which is, I think, the most crucial thing which you need to understand, and not a lot of people notice. They do not. Not a lot of people notice that thing and realize what's the difference between the ships, because you can see that the DPR is the same, and they kind of measure only the DPR of the ship. But let's take two exactly the same ships. So the first one is Raynor with 3 lasers, and the second one is Raynor with 3 missiles. They're absolutely the same, so you see the DPR is the same. But if we check out every weapon on every weapon slot, we will see that the damage it is done is different. Why it is so? So on S slot, on small slot, if we go here, down here, we will see the damage done to the hull. So exactly this figure. So this figure will be multiplied. This damage should be multiplied by 80%. So let's assume we are facing the enemy with a weak hull. So the whole damage which will go to the hull, to HP bar, because our main goal is reduce the enemy's HP bar to 0, will be multiplied by 80. Yep, let's assume there's no armor, no shield, nothing, just the hull. So we will multiply our damage by 80. In the medium slot, we will multiply our damage by 90. And in the large slot, we will multiply our damage by 100. If we check out the same stuff with lasers, the figures will be different. So weak hull 115, medium 130, large 145. That means that on different weapon slots, different weapons will do different kind of damage and different amount of damage to different hulls. Why does it matter? First of all, if you compare, let's compare battlecruiser to Raynor. You see that Raynor has one more medium slot, but battlecruiser has two more than compared to Raynor, two more small slots. That means that on small slots, the damage from, if we assume that they are fitted absolutely the same, the damage of battlecruiser will be 10% less from one weapon than the damage from Raynor. It's not a lot, but it's kind of crucial, especially which kind of weapon you're gonna use against which kind of hull. Once again, I can't tell you anything about the components and which components you need to use and which components you need to build, because I can't do any tests at the moment. So it's up to you how you're gonna fit your Raynors, but I will come to it later. So now we realize that the better and more advanced your ship is, the better types weapon slots it does have. And our final goal of the game is kind of to farm the best design you could possibly have from the ships which are not Kraken. It's Royal Oak Dreadnoughts, yeah, not Honor Oak, but Royal Oaks. And from the beginning of the game, your main idea is so let's face your opponents. So from the start of the game, your opponents will be like small pirates, yeah, up to 66k, yeah. So your main opponents will be gunship, frigates, so mostly frigates and destroyers. You can see, starting from 66k up to yeah, it's starting from 100. There will be more light cruisers and battle cruisers, and when you will start to farm Raynors, which is kind of the main ship for literally a lot amount of time, you would face 179 to 296, so nearly till 300. So your main opponents will be light cruisers and battle cruisers. I can't tell you how many shields does it have, how many armor do they have, or evasion, what is their evasion. But what I can tell you is a very nice thing, that your main opponents will have will have light hull, standard hull, and later on, when you will start to farm Royal Oaks, it will be Dreadnoughts, they will have heavy hull. So let's base our math on the figures which we know, and the opponents which we need to face. So from the beginning of the game, like in the middle of the game, from like 1 month after the first game, your main goal will be to farm Raynors and for that reason you need to kill and face you need to kill and face pirates 179, elites, and 293. If you never seen the elites are the pirates which flies here and there, so it's not the standard pirates, but they do fly through your systems. Sorry, I can't see any at the moment to show you, but I hope you do see any. Sorry. Come on, no elites. Okay, I'm not that lucky. Okay, if you see any, you will notice that they are flying through the systems and you need to catch them. So yeah, like this one. So these are elite pirates, but this is a small one, so you will literally get nothing but resources from that. And your idea to farm Raynor's designs, yeah, from which can be seen in fragments in designs, yeah, to combine Raynors. So we need to kill 179 to 293. And after that, after you farm Raynors and you get enough fleet, your main goal will be 381 to 600, nearly 700, literally. And there will be dreadnought battle cruisers. So if we come, once again, if we come to blueprints, we know which hulls we need to attack, what are our main enemies. So if we check it out, I'm fond of math. Welcome to my small world. Here's an Excel, and here you are. You can see that if you build, so let's assume we take Raynor and we compare it to battle cruiser, and let's assume that in our Raynor design, if we would like to calculate it DPR, but not these crappy figures which says that our DPR is 514. It doesn't really matter because you can't compare it. But if you put all the kinetic weapon in all the slots, the DPR will be the same, but the actual damage will be different. So the DPR will be 100323. That's the same one with the battle cruiser. You can check it. But if we assume that there is no armor, no shields, no evasion, because it's very hard to calculate them, and I really don't know how to do it, because you need to calculate it according to the enemy you're going to face, and we do not know the enemy which you're going to face, but we know the enemy you're going to face according to their hulls. So your main idea about the hulls, sorry, I forgot the very important thing. I think I showed it, but just in case I will double check it. Sorry, blueprints. Yeah. So here, your main enemies will be with a light hull, once again, with a standard hull, and with a heavy hull. And if you are against the players who are using the gold fleet, it will be the same: light hull, standard hull, and heavy hull. So if we compare, once again, if we compare the Raynors with battle cruisers fully fitted with kinetic weapon, yeah, and we check it out, their damage to light, standard, and heavy hull. So it's a Raynor, it's a battle cruiser, so we can honestly think, I'll try to make it closer. Yeah, we can see that damage from Raynor is higher than the damage from the battle cruiser. I don't know why this figure is different, but not really sure why this figures. No, it's okay. Yeah, so we can see that the damage from Raynor is higher than the damage from the battle cruiser, because once again, Raynor has one medium slot and battle cruiser has two small slots. That's the first thing. Second of all, if you feed the Raynor, I showed you before, if you feed the Raynor with fully kinetic weapon and fully like laser weapon, the DPR would be the same. But if you check out the figures according to which hull you're gonna face, the actual damage output will be different. So with the laser, it will be a little bit lower. With rockets it will be different and lower. With the drones it will be a little bit higher than lasers on rocket, but a little bit lower than kinetic, and so on and so on. Once again, we can't calculate any armor or any shield or any evasion. You need to understand it by yourself, because we don't know the enemies you're gonna face, so their actual figures, actual defense figures. We just know the rules. I hope it's clear now. So let's come to the actual I think it's like that chapter. Let's come to the actual figure. So my suggestion that if you can't build the battle cruisers or Raynors yet, so don't build battle cruisers but build only Raynors. If you can't build Raynors yet, you need to use only light cruisers. You don't need to use Raptors. Why? Because to farm Raynors, you need to kill, as I already mentioned, only light and standard hulls. So if you check out the figures, so the figure of the light cruiser, which I will suggest you in a minute, or a couple of minutes, is like 400 to the light hull and 300 to the standard hull. And with the Raptor is literally much bigger. It's 600 and 450 nearly. Yeah. So if we compare with the figures, yeah, if we divided the Raptor damage to the, if we compare to the light cruiser damage, it will be 50% higher, so one and a half. So literally 50% higher one than another. But if we look at the amount, how much does it cost to build one light cruiser? And to build one cruiser, you need to spend 150,000, and to build one Raptor, you need to spend 438,000. So if we divide it one to another, you would understand that the price of the Raptor is three times higher than the price of the light cruiser. And why you need light cruisers and Raptors? You need them to farm Raynors and enough resources for Raynors when you start building. So one more very important notice. Yeah, you will get. Look at me. I'm playing like a month right now. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. So, and I already have Raynors. To have Royal Oaks, which is the next. So for a month I used light cruisers. Royal Oaks, which is the second, the last ship design which I'm going to use. How many times will I spend before I will use Royal Oaks? So after the ship design center level 5, I need, let's do the simple math. I need the lab level 5, so it's about 15 days. Yeah. After that, level 6 station, it's, let's say, about 20 days. After that, trading post, energy, and basic shipyard plus, let's say, 70 days whatsoever. Radar plus 70 days. And ship design center plus 60 days. Yep. 60 days. Yeah, 335 days. Okay, you will boost some of it, so I know 30, 35, let's say 35. So 300 days. Yep. 300 days divided by 30, so 10 months. You're gonna use Raynors for 10 months. You're gonna use light cruisers, Raptors, and Tormentors for 1 month. Do you think is it worth it to spend 3 times more minerals and all the resources for Raptors, Tormentors, and light cruisers, which you're gonna destroy in 1 month, than to save all the money and to build Raynors and Ruiners? Just think about it. That's why I suggest no one to build Raptors except if you are in war. Because Raptors, once again, coming to basics, your fleet consists of 1 tanking and the rest is DPR, whatsoever, so damage dealers. They are not gonna receive any damage. The whole damage will be received by a tanking fleet. so you do not really care. Are they healthy? Do they have a lot of shields, armor, and all this stuff? Except you are in war, because in PvP, when your tanking fleet will be destroyed, all the damage will be done to your damage dealers, to raptors and light cruisers. And yeah, raptors are much better than light cruisers because they do have a lot of health. But does it really matter in PvE? Absolutely not. Some guys told me that yeah, but if you look how many fleet you can according to the leadership of your admirals, yeah, there is certain amount of fleet you can put in your admiral. It's absolutely true, but figures says that you're gonna spend so much resources which you don't want to, and if you look at the Tormentor figures by yourself, yeah, you can see that the figures are the same. So you will have 2 Tormentors per 1 light cruiser, so you'll have 440, and the amount of minerals, it's not worth it. So, for example, the basic comparison, to make 1 shot from the Raptor to it, very simplifying everything, but just for an example, yeah, to make 1 shot for a standard crew from Raptor will cost you nearly 1000, and to make a shot of a standard crew from a light cruiser will be 500. Yeah, and damage is only, so it's twice the price, and the damage is only 50%. And here for the standard crew, if you make 2 of them, so you will have you need 2 Tormentors to do the same amount of damage, and the price will be kind of the same. So it's completely not worth it. The last thing I would like to tell you that when you reach the Raynors, yeah, your main enemies will be, as I told you, they will be enemies with standard and heavy hulls. So for that reason, I suggest building honestly Raynors, because they're better. They're twice the price, and the damage is only like, once again, like 50% in standard and just some percentage in heavy hulls. But the thing is that Raynors you're gonna use for 10 months, so I think you will have enough money to build the whole for nearly 5 or 6 fleet of Raynors, and Raynors is the kind of ship you're gonna use nearly till the end of the game. One more, several things before the end. So as a conclusion, which kind of ships I do recommend to build. So it's only my opinion, and I explain why I recommend this type of ships and not the others, because of these figures which I just proposed. And all these figures are taken from the game, so it's not my thoughts, it's what is done. So in the end, in the beginning, when you just start the game, you need to build only eagles without anything, so no dreadnoughts, tormentors, nothing like that. Your main goal is to, with the eagles, you need to farm all the green components and designs. So your main goal is fragments. Yeah, you need to farm all these green weapon components, and also you need to farm the falcons. Yep, after that, when you farm all of this, it's just my own idea, it's what I've done. After that, you're building a new kind of frigate, I'm not sure. I use robotics, so I use something like that. And in the ship design, in the components, you just use 2 reactors and 3 shields. That will give you 900 shields, 0 crystal usage, so just minerals, and a good amount of damage. You will use these frigates a lot. It will be a tanking fleet, and also this fleet will help you to destroy some small pirates up to literally all small pirates up to 66k, so it doesn't really matter if you have 3-4 fleet of just these frigates. And after that, all your DPS fleet, damage dealers fleet, will consist of light cruisers. And when you reach the Raynors, you need to rebuild them a little bit. It doesn't matter, so I use robotics because I think that figures here, because I don't know how many armor or shield do the pirates have, so you can use missiles. It's honestly up to you. But after that, you need to rebuild them a little bit, so you need to take 2 of these. You will have 15 spare energy, put a green reactor, and put an advanced... Sorry, come back. Advanced shield here. So you have 0 energy. You will use 120 crystals, but you have a lot of crystals, so it doesn't really matter. So, and you would have a lot of shield. Why you need shield for the tanking fleet? Because when your tanking fleet is coming back to the base, yeah, it will restore all the fleet, all the shield automatically, and you can start fighting again. And one more thing. You would need about 500 each time. You need about 500 of these shield frigates, because when you come to the base, you don't start the repair from the scratch. So it's the end of the day. So for that reason, all my frigates are in repair mode. But let's assume I have 500, and this is a damaged one. So I move the damaged one to the dock, yeah, and put the rest. So if it's 500, so I would have a lot. Yeah, and go and fight again. So you go and fight, come from the fight, move them to the dock, refill them, and go fight again. After that, in the end of the day, you accumulate a lot frigates, damaged frigates here. You just press the button repair all and go to sleep. Go to work or whatever. So do not repair them here, move them to dock and place them in repair mode. With the light cruisers, yeah, the second ship I would recommend when you reach it will be the light cruisers. So build the light cruisers only with the green weapon, and you would need 3 kinetic weapon in small slots, 1 kinetic weapon in medium slot. This is the main damage to standard and light hulls. And you would need, I personally suggest 2 lasers and 3 homing bots for like destroyers, for small fleets like weak and simple hull, yeah, for destroyers and frigates, and maybe some mosquitoes if you face any, yeah. So it's kind of, and from components you can use whatever you want. I just use shield. But it's my own preference. Can't suggest you anything about that. Yeah, this is in my personal idea. This is a perfect mixture for killing every type of enemy you're gonna face, no matter how strong they are, because it's damage dealers and they are not gonna tank. So their main idea is to do the damage. And when you will face Raynors, so the best idea is to build Raynors. But if you have Raynors, I suggest fully kinetic Raynors, because yeah, fully kinetic of this one, because your main goal is to kill standard and heavy hull, and kinetic is literally the best one. So this is kinetic, yeah, literally the best one against this type of hull. You can use robotic, but it's up to you. Yep. So the figures about Raynors, I think you'll figure it out. About light cruisers, you need to understand that every light cruiser will consume 7 leadership points. So for I have level 4 research lab, and you would have the same. So for this type of research lab, you need 95 if you fully research, and if you have the Violet Admiral without any leadership skills, you would need 95 light cruisers. So about 300, so 285, yeah, is the optimal maximum figure you would need to raise. The last two things I would like to mention. The first thing that you have some ships here in Alliance Workshop. These ships you're gonna use only for tanking. Please do not buy them for the DPS, because their DPR, if you check it out, yeah, by yourself. I think we can see, yeah, let's see this light cruiser comparing to DPR, which is 283 compared to this light cruiser. So the DPR is doubled. So the workshop, they have a lot of shields, a lot of health, a lot of armor, but 0 damage. So don't use them as damage dealers, because it's not worth it, like completely. They are just tanks. So all the ships from the workshop are tanks. And the last thing I would like to mention, I hope I forget nothing, but just in case, so the last thing I would like to mention are the admirals. So which admirals with which skills you're gonna need. So for your, you know that the admirals can be violet, blue, and gold. The rest, it doesn't really matter. So you need to understand that, for example, violet admiral, the maximum level is 40. The attack damage of your whole fleet under his command will be increased by 72%. So even compared to the blue one, if the blue one has the fleet attack plus 15%, 15% plus 48 is 63. 63 is not as good as 72. So 72 plus 50%, not as good as 100. So the better the admiral. So this plus 15% attack damage is not worth it. But the opposite situation is with the defense one. So for example, 100, the gold one, 50%, it's 25% the incoming reduction, but for example, the violet one, 18 with 20% damage reduction, it will be 38. 38 to 25 is much better, but you need to understand that the gold admiral would have much more fleet, because it does have much more leadership points. So it's up to you what you think about and what you prefer. The main skills which you're gonna need for the tanking admiral are the defense one, which reduce the incoming damage by a certain amount of percent, so 15 or 20, and evasion master, and you can also have the one which restores the shield of the battle. Also, leadership is very nice on any admiral, and for the damage dealers, you would like the accuracy, and the main most important thing is offensive strategy. Yep. Also on the tanking admiral, the good one is I forgot how to name it. Give me a second. This one, yeah, plunderer, yeah, damage with the space stations. It also helps to, if it is right, what I heard is right, that it helps you to steal more resources. The rest, and the leadership is a very good skill for any admiral. The rest, not worth to mention. Damage taken during the jump cooldown is very good for PvP, for PvP tanking one. I think this is it, what I wanted to tell to you about all the fleet, and I hope I answered all the questions. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you understand that I'm basing everything on the figures, and I'll try to do the tests according to the figures, but I need some time for it. So thank you very much and good luck!